Hello, everybody. This is Reggie time, and we're going to be reviewing a 13-hour snap session that I played sometime in the last, I can't remember now, I think it was a few days ago, maybe 4 or 5 days ago, with two of the people currently in my Skype study group. It's James, who you've heard before a few times on some of the videos, and Sam, who might be new to you. Both players play on Sky. James also plays some PokerStars Zoom. So, I'm going to pause the video in a moment, and then next time you hear all three of our voices, and we're just going to play the video back at double speed and pause when we get to some hopefully interesting spots that we can discuss. So I'm going to pause the video now, and when we come back, we'll just get on with playing the video.
Okay.
So here we go. We'll just press play, and as if you see anything, just sing out. And I'll try and pause stuff. I wasn't that great on the fucking control last time we were backwards and forwards a bit because I'm an old man. There we go, straight away. What do you think of the 3-bet there with the ace 10? What, is that something you typically do, James, or not?
Again, I'd look to the HUD and see if they fold, see how tight they are opening there.
Well, assume unknown, and what assumptions would you make based on his stack size?
Yeah, I think he was fishy with his stack size. I'd probably just flat it, to be honest with you.
This is more just for isolation than anything else. Is that I want to get the guy heads up. I don't really want to play multi-way pot, so that's why I'll have done that, I would guess. And then I guess we're just going to go and try and get some value. It's not easy to get 3 streets here in this spot without like shitty 10 kicker, but I think starting by betting's pretty fine. I guess we could check back there sometimes, but
I'd just bet 2 streets and check back at river, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's stars the minute you check, they'll start potting it, won't they?
On stars, yeah, against good players. So
yeah.
Once you show a bit of weakness, people will get after it.
That's right, so you just can't show it. If you're going to bet at 2 streets, you're best the bottom turn, I think.
I don't think you want to be giving too many free cards either. If he's in there, if he's just in with 2 Broadways, he's probably not going to fold the flop. If he's got any 2 Broadway cards. As if you see anything that you wouldn't do or anything you're thinking, why is he doing that, just give us a shout. I hope a continuation bet here, because I think if we just don't bet there, we're just giving up on the hand, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really like giving up very much, because people fold way more in these games. I've been playing on Sky, and my C-bet's way lower on Sky, because people just don't fucking fold. But in these games, people fold a lot, so I usually follow up with the C-bet in these games, unless the board texture's absolutely shocking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they have to be quite as patient in Snap. But on like a regular table, they want to play hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, on these like fast forward games, you can be more like selective because you don't have to wait. I think the good thing about Sky is on any regular tables, the fish are always going to play worse because they don't want to fold because they know they have to wait for the hand to play out. They don't have this, so I think fast fold definitely makes the weaker players play better, but you're also compensated for that by being able to get way more volume in. I'm still undecided what I prefer. I think I like just having bankrolls on both, and if things are going well on Snap, I'll play Snap for a few days. Then if I fancy a change of scenery, then we've got the Sky to go back to. So I kind of just oscillate between the two. But I do
the good thing is you can 2-table it easy enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas Sky, you're wanting to minimum 4, but then if you're taking notes and everything, and with the time bank, it can get a bit hectic.
Quite short, isn't it?
My huge bugbear with Sky is the fucking software. It's just so horrendous.
Yeah.
And I know that's what makes it so soft, because it makes regulars stay away from it. I'm just going to pause it for a second. But it just bugs the shit out of me. When I have 4 tables going, I mean, my laptop's pretty good. It's only a laptop, so it's still pretty good. I have 4 tables going, and if I have Chrome open with listen to YouTube or something, my fan starts fucking whirring like there's no tomorrow. The same issue you've got, James. You've got to click buttons about 3 times to make them work sometimes.
All the time, yeah.
And just the whole overall experience really, really bugs the shit out of me. And I'm not sure if like the the stress, and it does genuinely stress me out sometimes. I'm not sure the stress it causes is like takes away from like the value of the game quality. I'm not really sure. Anyways, these kings, would you ever flat in this spot?
No,
I didn't know.
No.
I don't want it to go multi-way. No, I'd just isolate and.
Because I know for Farmy quite well, he's a Chinese regular, he's pretty damn nitty, so I 3-bet him here because I hope I do anyway, because I didn't expect him to be opening wide under the gun, so I thought I could just get value. But what if you were playing like a really loose aggro reg here, who was like really wide in all positions, and is just going to fold a lot? You know, if you were playing like a decent regular who's like opening maybe 16-17% under the gun and only continuing with like the top of his range, would you still just 3-bet, or would you risk playing then?
I think even with like the top of his range, if his range is really wide, then the top of his range is still itself going to be quite wide. So, I mean, that's the range I'm targeting with kings. I think if you just flat, it's, you know, you're slow playing, it's micro stakes, it goes against what I want to do. I want to just bet with the kings there.
So what if you got someone like, and you don't know him, but King Essex, or whatever, he's in the big blind, he's a really quite aggressive regular. Would you ever like call here to try and
well,
put the
I
back
done
raise
that
in and go for
recently
the squeeze?
because a guy kept 3-betting me because he thought I was new in Sky because I was asking about multi-tabling.
Yeah.
And that's what I done. I flatted, a 3-bet and I shoved with queens.
Yeah,
So yeah, I have done it, but as you say, only because I knew he was constantly
I
3-betting
think
me.
you've got to have a reason for doing it. I wouldn't always flat here, but I think when we do 3-bet, we kind of, our hand's pretty face up because it's just not a spot where anyone's 3-bet bluffing, or so few people in these games are 3-bet bluffing. When we 3-bet, we've pretty much always got queens plus and maybe ace king. I don't think we've got no bluffs, put it that way. I don't think we've got any bluffs in our range whatsoever. So that's kind of why I was thinking about talking about flat calling, because I think it's something people don't do enough of. I did 3-bet here because of how nitty for Farmy is, but if this was this kinetic guy opening under the gun, I could have been persuaded to flat him.
I think you'd end up killing a lot of your value against his sort of hands like 10-10, Jack-Jack, Queen-Queen. If you were just a flat and then the flop comes like ace, something, with like two suits, and you just think, fuck's sake, why didn't I just...
Yeah, you risk a shit flop coming, there is that of course, yeah, and that's always a pretty... It's a risk you take, isn't it? It's like built into the play. But you also like get the value of him sometimes staying in pots with hands he would have folded and then making a hand. For example, if he's opening 10-9 suited under the gun, he flops a 10. You're going to get...
Goes crazy with it.
Yeah, you're going to get quite a bit of post-flop value that way. Because if I do slow play premium pairs pre-flop, I'll post-flop. In my head, I'll just pretend I've got a set and I'll play it the way I would play a set. Because it's like with our boards under rep. So if I've got like aces on whatever board, on a pretty dry board, I would treat it like I've got a set, and I would just raise like I've got a set. And if someone's out flop me with 2 pair, then fuck my life. But I would just, in my head, I've got a set now, and I'm going to play it like I would play a set. And it helps me stay aggressive post flop and not get like scared by some board textures. Because it is when you slow play, it's dead easy for all like the paranoia to creep in. And start like thinking because they're c-betting into you, you start thinking they've hit everything. The board will be like 10-7-4, and you'll just think they've flopped a fucking set because they're value betting, and because they're value betting, you pick up on the fact that they like the hand, but you've got to remember that you are under repped, so they might be value betting against what they think is a weaker hand than you actually have. So what do we think about these calling 3-bets with pocket pairs here?
No.
To set mine or
no?
Yeah, just to set, literally just to set mine.
I don't mind it. I mean, we're deep enough to do it.
I listened to a lecture that said just never do it, so I don't.
For me, it depends on the price I'm getting and how much money. I don't remember what I do here, but I think I would guess that I'm going to call. Because
it's not a huge 3-bet, is it?
It's only 6 blinds, If he made this like 3-15 or something, I think I would fold. But it's 6 blinds more, and we've still got well over 100 blinds in our stack. So I would expect myself to call here, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if I fold because I'm like you, James. I'm not massively motivated to set mine in 3-bet pots, but if the price
because in the long run, I mean, how often are you going to stack them? And it's just
but it's not always about stacking. Sometimes if the board comes down, low cards, he's just going to check fold, isn't it, with like some of his high cards and things. So it's not that we're always just set mining. We could sometimes just win the pot. If this came down like, I don't know, 9-4-2 or something, we could call a c-bet, and then if he checks a turn, you can be quite confident that he's just got 2 high cards, and you're going to win the pot that way. It's not like we're always giving up on the pot if we don't make a set. But yeah, you're right. It does get high, because I don't think people are necessarily barreling off with high cards in these games. I think people will see bet ace king here a lot when they miss, but if they get called and they don't hit the turn, there's that many players in these games just continuing to apply pressure. They should do probably, and I think in higher stakes games people definitely do. But in this, in a
that's
snap,
the guy that
I don't
flat
think
called
so.
earlier when you
But
see
this
bet the
Archer's
kings.
guy, I think,
Yeah,
we're getting
so
a
he
few
has a
hands with
bit
him.
of fish, I think.
Yeah, no, I think he actually turns out he's a Latvian player. I think he turns out to be dead tight, but I'm not sure. But I hate paying Latvians off.
Oh, that's a nice flop.
They always have it.
Yeah.
Don't you think of his sizing then, bearing in mind the line he's taken?
I mean, it's small, and I mean, he's always going to call with overpairs. I think you could go a bit bigger.
See, I don't
It's a
think he has
dry-
overpairs. This is for me basically just to try and get him to not fold with hands like just 2 high cards. Because if he's just got 2 high cards, he's drawing dead to like a runner straight or something now. If he's just got like 2 random broadways, he's really in rough shape. So
Oh, sorry, no, he's checked, hasn't he? Yeah,
yeah, he's checked to us. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I quite like the sizing and
So
keep everything in.
I didn't want to check back because I want to try and I always try and build a pot. Who knows? He might just randomly spaz out with like 2 high cards. He might just. I don't expect him to fold ace king here very often when I bet this size. What would you, if you were in his boat with like ace queen, ace king, ace jack, king queen here? What would you do to this size?
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
getting, like
versus that
4-1
size.
on a call or whatever.
Yeah. As long as you're not getting paranoid, thinking he's begging for a call. But I think I probably would
Yeah,
call over cards like
you
you
can
say.
fold here for that such a small bet.
Yeah.
I think you're in a lot of trouble if you're just always check folding to these tiny bets. You're going to make yourself very, very easy to play against with your high cards, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That's why I do it. I often get told off on the post hands on Reddit or post videos. People say my bet sizing's too small, but when people are just checking in this spot, they just don't have anything. So it's just hard to, I guess I could check and hope an ace or a king or something rolled off and just get some value that way. But I'd rather just start by betting and just irritating people and annoying them. I'd rather just make life difficult for people and check back and hope they hit. Because all you do, you check back, they miss again, and the more relaxed with the fold then, because you've got to see almost all of the board.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just irritate people who are making small bets. Because you never know, people might just fucking just go do something crazy because they just hate the bet size. I've certainly done that in the past. Someone's made a small bet, I'm like, oh, they can't handle a raise. And then next thing they 3-bet me, and I'm like, oh, shit. Well, here we go again with the kings. Right, what are we doing here with the kings? Oh, too late. Because in hindsight
That's
now...
what I'm doing, yeah.
In hindsight now, I'm thinking I wouldn't have minded flatting just to try and keep snuffing. Because I was scared if an ace pops, but an ace only going to come, 9-10% of the time, something like that, I think. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's all it is. And now, I understand why I've done it. I've jammed to isolate, because I'm pretty sure he's not folding if we look at his stack size. I don't think he's putting a quarter stack in and folding. But again, looking back now, if we call here, does that sometimes make Snuffle make a mistake? If you were Snuffle, is there anything that you would call if I just flatted that you would fold to a jam?
No, once he flats there, and then if he was to jam, it kind of just means, I think at least, kind of like ace, queen, ace, king, and it's kind of hard for him to have ace, king when you've got 2 kings.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean if we... Just say he's got a hand like 2-8 or something here, 2-9. If we jam, he's going to fold it. But if we call, is he ever then just going to say, you know what, I'm getting fucking...
It would need to be deeper.
But
it would need to be deeper.
No, I wouldn't call if I was him. But I was saying, would you ever consider calling just to try and make someone Snuffle make a bad call with his middle pairs, just to convince himself that he can't fold? Because if we were to just call here, that would put 13.50 in the pot, and he'd be getting 3.5 to 1, nearly 3.5 to 1 on a call. So you think whether I call or jam here, he's still going to just 4 pocket 8s all the time?
I think so.
Well, I mean, if I was in position and had aces, I probably would. But I think out of position with kings, you're not going to get that much value out of 8-8 post flop anyway. You're only just going to get this one extra bet pre flop. Because I mean, how often is it going to come down where he's going to then actually put any more in post flop? He's just calling to hit an 8, and the times that he does, he stacks us.
Yeah, he certainly does. Yes, I mean, I'm just thinking. I mean, obviously, I did go with the jam because I wanted to isolate cubic, but I was just looking back now and thinking, could I have called? And just to be snuffling, but no, I think both. I think I just think slow playing is it's like a lost art. No one ever seems to do it that much anymore. And I always at least try and think about it, because it's just if you get confident of just that slow playing pre and then not getting too scared post flop, you can start turning up with hands people just don't put in your range, because you see it all the time on the forums. Oh, he can't have aces, he can't have kings, he didn't 3-bet, he didn't 4-bet or whatever, and people just like rule them completely out of your range. Yeah. And this is what I learned from the forums. I don't necessarily learn that much about how I should play certain hands in terms of like what people tell me. I learn a lot more by how people like start ranging people. You know, when you read on the forums all the time, he can't have 6-5 suited here because I've raised under the gun and he's called on the button. Or he can't have this, he can't have that, and people just rule out way too many hands. So I just think it's pretty cool sometimes to slow play pre-flop if you know you're up against some like pretty narrow-minded regulars who just rule out things because of that one pre-flop action, and the rest of the action post-flop they still never even go back to thinking, oh, we could have overpairs here, because you just assume you're always 3-betting all your overpairs. So I think it's something I like to try and mix into my game. Like this, I get told off for my small 4-bets too, but I'll do that because it's just I try and do things that people think that people don't like, because it confuses them. If you're always just like, oh, I'm going to 4-bet now and I'm going to 4-bet to 2.5x their sizing, you're just playing into their comfort zone, because you're doing things that they're used to dealing with. I like to try and put people in spots that they're not used to and turn up with things that they're not used to seeing, because I want to know how they think and then figure out how to play to confuse them, rather than know how they think and then play a style that conforms to that line of thinking. Because what's more confusion? Someone who just does loads of standard plays that you can read easily, or some guy turns up one day with something you couldn't fucking, and you're like, fucking how does he have that? You'd rather play the guys who you know what they're up to, rather than the guys that have fucking how does he have aces there or whatever. I think it's just dead useful to just have it, at least have it in your arsenal. So it looks like I've called a raise here pre with 8-5 suited. So let's go back and look at why I've done that.
So you're in the big blind, or
yeah, in the big blind. I guess it's just going to be a min raise.
Yeah, one blind, well, one big blind.
Yeah, we have to call. We're getting 7-1. So I'm fine with that. What are you doing here? You're leading out, check raising, check calling.
Yeah, I'd possibly lead out.
I don't think we get an ace to fold ever, that's the issue. But, I think we can sometimes control the pot here by, if we check and they bet 180, it gets expensive, but maybe we could think about leading out for 120, because I don't think we're just going to get raised that loosely in a multi-way pot. If we do get raised, it's usually probably going to be by sets or by really strong hands, and we haven't got that much equity in that situation. And if we just check call, there's only one way to win the pot, so I don't know what I do here. I'd like to see, looking it back, I'd quite like to see me lead out for just something like 120 or something, because it's a multi-way pot, it's going to check through a lot, which is fine because we get to realise our equity on the turn, but at the same time we don't get to build a pot for when we do hit. So I don't know, I wouldn't mind me check calling here or leading out. I haven't really got a standard here, I don't think. What would you do in this spot, Sam?
Probably just check.
Just check.
And try to get to a free turn. But like you say, it doesn't build apart. It's one of those things where, because we've limped in pre, it's harder to play. We haven't got the initiative. There's more players. We're out of position. I think it's just an overall
I like to donk
hard
sets
spot to get money. Yeah.
If I had pocket fours, which is the only set I would have because I would have squeezed tens. If I had pocket fours, I would absolutely lead out here. Unquestionably, I would not check this board. So if I can lead in sets here, I guess I can lead stuff like this as well.
What sort of sizing would you do with your sets of fours? Like really big?
I'd just fucking pot it. Yeah, I'd be like pot. I guess would take me to something like 240 because of the click it back one. So I'm guessing I would be like 210 here. and then I would just keep going close to pot, and just hope that the club didn't come or something. But I honestly can't remember what I did, so I guess we'll see. I did bet out. I'm not expecting an ace to fold here at all. I'd just rather bet 120 than check call 180. Looks like this adventure's going to be over. I hope. If I don't do anything but fold here, I'm just going to hang up, I think.
3-bet jam, yeah.
Really am. I just need to fold here. Yeah, good stuff. So yeah, it's a shame when that happens, you get blasted off your draw. But we could be in all sorts of trouble there, because if someone's got a bigger draw than us, we're pretty much fucked. So if someone's like got king, queen of clubs there, or one person's got an ace, one person's got a bigger flush draw, we're just in absolutely rotten shape. But that's the sort of play that will draw some criticism from some people. But I don't mind that, because I don't really care about balance much. But if I am always donking my sets, it's nice to do it with some of your like draws and stuff.
I'm sure I read that donking a gut shot multi-way is plus EV.
I think it probably is.
So I mean, I'd actually do donk a lot when I hit the flop.
When you donk multi-way, it just looks strong. And there was like years ago, well not years ago, probably a year or so ago, if someone donked the flop, people were just raising fucking tag lag. It was the thing to do. Donk flop, and then just, if a fish donks a flop into, you just raise them. Well, I think now more regulars are donking flops with stronger hands, so people can't just raise it often now. So I think it's moved on a little bit from that. So I quite like donking now. I don't do it tons, but I'll probably donk more than
That's
average
a
regular.
huge bet.
Which one? Where are we at?
With 420 overall, that's a big squeeze.
420. Where did I do it? Oh, there. Oh, right. So I was looking at the wrong table. Well, yeah, because my hand's fucking rubbish, but there's like quite a bit of money in the pot. Before it gets to us, where are we at? There's already $3 in the pot. So if you make it too small, you're going to be giving people a really good price. If I just made this like 270 here, I'm going to put the pot to 570. You're going to be giving people like over 3-1 on a call, and I don't want to be giving people 3-1 on a call when they've got position on me, especially when I've got a hand as rubbish as this. So I know this guy's a pretty loose opener. Snuffle, I didn't know much about him, but I'd seen him at a few tables just peeling, never being that aggressive. He was a guy early when we had the Kings, he just peeled out 160 open. So I think at the time, I'm thinking it's a good squeeze spot, like loose opener, possibly fishy call there. It's your classic squeeze spot, isn't it? Hopefully get the regular to fold, and then if the fish calls, we haven't got a great hand, but we've got something. We can flop some sometimes. If we make it too small, we don't carry enough fold equity. That's my issue. What size would you have made it, Sam?
To be honest, I don't tend to really squeeze too often in like anything like 20 NL.
It wouldn't make sense on Sky as much because you've got much less fold equity as well, I would guess. But I'm just playing for fold.
Because it's snap as well. Yeah, that is actually an added dynamic.
I think people are going to fold more. I think there's a lot that's going to fold a lot here. And then if Snuffle comes along, well, I'll deal with it. Snuffle comes along. But I don't want to call. I guess folding would be absolutely fine. Of course it would be. But it just looked like a good setup to me. It looked like somebody, like a regular, loose aggressive.
Trouble with me, though, is that it's 3. You know what I mean? Usually you're squeezing 2. You know what I mean? There's a semi-bluff in that, and it's just that extra one that's got to fold, isn't it?
It is, but
it's costing you more.
I think that third person makes it look that much bit stronger, though.
Because
because of that third person in. And I think I've got something about this hand. I've got a bit of history with it because I lost a fortune to it to a pro rugby player once in the casino. So whenever I get Queen 7 suited in a squeeze spot, it's almost like it's me and Queen 7. Have you ever watched the film Gone in 60 Seconds? Like the end of it, you've got that car at the end. What was it fucking called? I can't remember what it was called now. It was a girl's name, wasn't it? This is like my end boss of like fucking Gone in 60 Seconds. I've got to conquer the Queen 7. So maybe it's got something to do with that. I don't know, but I just think it's a good spot. But I think it needs to be big because of how much in the pot. If I made this like just $3 here, we'd be giving people way too much of a good price. I make it 3-6 in. He's going to be getting 3-1 on a call. He's going to be getting 4-1. He's going to be getting 5-1. So once he calls, I think everyone calls, and then it's just been a complete clusterfuck. So I'm fine with my size. You're right. It's only 14 blinds. It's not excessive. In terms of a plain 3-bet, it will be big, but in a squeeze, I don't think it's that big for like squeezing purposes. And I don't remember what happens. I'm guessing they must all have folded because If something interesting happened, I'll probably remember it.
Okay.
No, we didn't
Cool.
get a call.
Got 2 calls.
Which is exactly what we don't want.
Yeah.
And I think we need to go back and look at that because I've fucked up with the video. And have that entire conversation again because I pressed pause on the fucking recording and didn't press pause on the fucking player because I'm an absolute moron. So basically what we talked about there was, first of all, we talked about calling this check raise from Poker Maeve, and I had no idea how long the video's been fucking paused for, to be honest, so Christ knows. So we just have to wing it from here. We did talk about calling at first, but then I think we thought folding was maybe better because we weren't going to call any barrels on the turn of the river. So that was a conversation.
We know they're coming.
Yeah, at first we thought call, and then we thought we know the barrels are coming, so maybe folding's better. So we did fold, and I've no idea how long that video's been paused for. Major fuck up, but whatever.
Don't know, I've seen them at Stars and Sky though, both, raising their draw.
Yeah,
and then giving up. It's strange to just give up another 2 streets. You're going, if he'd have just stabbed again, he'd have got it.
Of course he would. I think,
but they seem to be one and done.
If people do check raise, then just check the turn, they're nearly always giving up. I think the double check raise is like the rarest thing ever.
Yeah.
But I just expect it to come too often. I think, they will check the turn there some of the time because they'll just literally be like just fucking around thinking, if he doesn't have a king here, he can't continue. He doesn't have a strong draw. So people will just check raise there and give up. But I just don't think that's happening enough. And I think I just want to make a decision there, thinking ahead, thinking how often do I want to put lots more money in this pot? Yeah, I've got top pair and a good shot. But do I really want to commit tons of money? If I think to myself, no, I don't want to commit tons of money, I'll quite often just make a tight fold on the flop. Because otherwise you'll end up levelling yourself. A brick comes on the turn and they'll barrel again. And I think you end up putting too much money in. And that's.
What was it you had? King 9?
We had King Queen.
King Queen.
Yeah, King Queen.
We had the King Queen there, and he's come back and raised us. And I think this is where it can lead to
because that's
mistakes.
the kind of flop you can sort of expect a raise on, so sometimes you can just check it back.
Yeah, I mean, if I thought.
Do you know what I mean? Instead of c-betting it, because.
I think bet fold is okay.
You're right. No, I think both fat. And it's one of those spots, James, that we talked about earlier in the video, where you want to, you really want your HUD stats at this point. Cause it's
exactly.
This is a spot where the HUD stat would be really, really useful.
How often is he winning at Showdown?
Yeah, all these things, like what's his one when soft. This is where you'd like a HUD just to know more about the player.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if we think we could just call this bet and go check it down, of course we would do. But I think this is a spot where people end up making tons of mistakes because they'll call this relatively small raise, and then someone will bet, I don't know, whatever on the turn. Maybe they just bet 4.5 into 9, so you convince them to call again, and then they'll bet 8 on the river, and you'll convince them to call again. And before you know it, you just put $10 in with just top pair medium kicker. And you're like, if you went back and reviewed the hand from scratch, you'd be like, I need to fold this hand at some point, but when is it? And for me, once I start thinking, this pot might get out of control and I've only got one pair, I'd usually just make a tight fold on the flop, which makes me exploitable, but I don't think enough people are doing this for me to worry about being exploited, because this is definitely a very exploitable fold that I'm making, but people don't know what you're folding. They know what I'm folding because they watch my videos, but typically people don't know what you're folding. I mean, for all they know, we might just be betting some random ace high here or something, or some under pair, whatever. It's not a huge deal. Still
so how do you think it changes without a HUD? Do you bother defending your blinds at all?
I defend my blinds pretty wide versus min raises, and versus anything else I tend to be quite tight. But min raises I'll defend really quite wide. But it's awkward. The thing is I know I've been playing these games so long, I know tons and tons of the regulars. And anyone that comes on that's not a regular, all I will do is after a couple of sessions, if I see, say I log in 2 days in a row, and I see these guys, then I'll just go into my Hold'em manager, and I'll have their profile open on 888, and I'll just figure them out a little bit. I'll just have a look, and if I've got 200 or 300 hands on them, I'll just start putting a few random, or I did before 888 fucking destroyed all my notes with their update. I just have things on. I just have a note on them with their HUD stats, like the VPIP, PFR, 3-bet, C-bet, just things like that, just little things, just to give me an idea of how they play. Basically, all I want to know is this guy typically weak, tight, loose, aggressive, or passive, or just generally just get a feel for how I think he approaches poker.
Yeah.
And quite often they can be quite wrong. I've had people in the past where after 200, 300 hands, I've had them down as loose aggressive, and then I've checked them maybe the week after when I've got 2,000 hands on them, and they've ended up being like 18-14. So it's a dangerous game, but you only got what you've got. You don't really have time to check every regular stats every single day. It's just not practical to do that. So I'll maybe just once every week or so, I just have a list of names. All right, I need to check these guys out, and then I'll have a list of people. As you're going through your notes on the tables, you'll see other people who've got a white rather than a colour, and they'll be like, right, I need to go back and check them, because I leave it in white until it's confirmed. So if I was doing a review, I might be reviewing and saying, right, I want to look at, just pause it while I pick a name up. I might say, right, I want to look at Jimmy Marsden here. And then I'll say, oh, I've got this guy as well at the same time. So even though when you're looking for Jimmy Marsden from my notepad, I'll also notice at the same time, right, I maybe need to do a bit more work on Kineski too. So that's just kind of how I do it. And I just put an hour or so aside, usually in the mornings when I'm not playing and I'm off work or something. That's usually when I just get a cup of tea, a load of biscuits or whatever. And I just sit and maybe do it for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And just update all my notes on people. And let's say sometimes it can be dead useful, other times you can completely misunderstand just how Luke. I remember the olden days when I used to have when HUDs updated by the table rather than by just you say me and you at the same table, same two tables, James. When HUDs first came out, they wouldn't update your stats and conversion straight away. So you could at one table you could be playing 27-22, and at another table you could be playing 16/4. And that can happen all the time. You can just think you know something about somebody, and then 200 hands later, because who knows, you might be playing me tonight, and I might be on fucking Raging Tilt, and I might be playing 35-30, when deep down I know I'm like an 18-14, 22-18 sort of Ranger player. So if you think, because you don't know if I'm tilting my tits, so if you haven't got a clue what's going on.
No, I see it quite a lot, actually. I've tagged somebody as a Nitsy, you know what I mean, you've got a red tag on them, and then you see them at Zoom, and their stats are crazy.
Yeah, it's
and you're just thinking, I wonder when I took that. I wonder when I tagged them.
I would say making bad reads based on sample sizes is one of the biggest leaks of every single person that I work with who works with the HUD, because they'll say to me, I'll 3-bet this guy because he's got 100% 4-3-bet. I'm like, right, he probably hasn't got 100% 4-3-bet, and we'll go and look at it, and it'll be like a sample size of 1, because you've only got 50 hands on the guy. And that's the problem with a lot of HUD stats, especially with inexperienced players. They just take them completely as read. They treat them like they're the gospel. And sample size doesn't really come into it that much. And I'm sure that's not the case with you, but there'll be a bunch of guys watching this video who've only just started using a HUD, and maybe they've only got 10,000 hands in it, and they'll be making all kinds of spectacular misreads, just based on one stat that they think they can exploit that isn't enough of a sample size for them to even use it. But there's loads of guys like that, loads and loads out there. I'm dead comfortable with using a HUD. I haven't used a HUD now for Christ. Apart from when I play full ring and what have you, or play on Poker Stars, I probably haven't used a HUD regularly for nearly 2 years now. So it's just like second nature to me now. But yes, I don't know. I actually don't know if I prefer having one or not. I really don't anymore, because I've got loads of broad assumptions that I have about populations anyway, and I usually use them before I use a HUD stat. And like we talked about, I'm not sure if we talked about in the video or not. What I will do is I just have my assumptions, and if people do something that doesn't fit with my loose assumptions, and we've got these twos. Again, I'm not sure what I would do here. I hope I fold, to be honest with you. I think we are that little bit deep again. I'll do a hope I fold. Is it one of your spots again, James? What do you reckon?
I would fold. I mean, two's it's set over set at times, isn't it? And
Sam, you would have called last time. Sam, weren't you? So what is this any different to last time?
I think out of position it's a bit narrower, but I think I'm probably still cool. I quite like set mining in 3-bet pots.
Yeah, I'm not that fond of it, but again, we are just that little bit, not hugely deep, not to the fact that it matters too much, but at some point, stack depth does matter. I mean, obviously, we're 200 blinds deep. If we were 200 blinds deep here, James, would that change your opinion?
Oh yeah, that deep, yeah, but not with twos. Do you know what I mean? I don't like small pockets. You know, maybe twos to fives or something.
I think this is right on the borderline for me. I actually think it's just about a call. I think if we were 100 blinds deep and he'd made that $3, I think I would fold. But because we're like just that extra, maybe 15, 20 blinds deep, and he's made it just that little bit smaller, he's only asking us to put an extra, what, 6.5 blinds in? 5.5 blinds in, yeah. I think it's... I don't like it, but I think I would probably prefer a call here. But if the situation was slightly, I think this is right on the borderline for me. If it was slightly different, if he had less chips and he made it slightly bigger, I would probably just snap fold. So I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to flop a set again. That's what I'm going to do.
You're like Grant with your sets, you are.
Just going to flop fucking sets. I think I'm going to fold this king queen on the other table. Yeah, I did. And I would hope I go for a check raise here. Because we've raised under the goodies 3 bets. His range is pretty strong. Yeah, obviously we can have sets because we've got one. But I think if we just check call here, the turn goes check way too often.
Yeah.
Because if he's got aces and kings and what have you, yeah, he's going to probably barrel the turn if it comes like rolls off a brick. But I think this turn goes, I think people are just getting good at pot controlling. So I would like to, I hope I raise. And if I do raise, I would hope I'd make it at least like $7, I hope. I've no idea, can't remember. Yeah, I'm happy with that. He just folds, whatever. Not much we can do about that. Well, this is the sort of situation I quite like on the right hand side table, where we flop 2 pair with complete rags we've opened the bottom with. I hope I just barrel off here. What do you think of the sizing then, the turn? Because it's folded, but that's such a brick. What size would you have made that turn, both of you?
Yeah, I'm saying 2/3 to 3/4.
Yeah, I think we don't need to make it too small, because the 7's such a brick. It's just not... I'm not going to be bluffing here too often, I don't think. So if I'm not going to be bluffing very often, there's no sense making your bet too small. I think Queen 10 still calls. Ace Jack maybe still calls. A King is never folding. I'm quite surprised he folded actually, because that's just not the sort of card you'd typically expect to get a fold on. If we were bluffing here, if we had Ace Queen, you wouldn't barrel that too often, I wouldn't have thought. Or if you had like, I don't know, some random bluff, I don't think you'd barrel there too often, so I'm surprised I got the fold. Hope I just fold this Ace 10. I'm not that fond of stuff like that in... Is it middle position? Yep. I thought this interesting. I don't know if something happens towards the end, because it hasn't been that much of an interesting session. I'm surprised I kept it for the view, and maybe something happens towards the end, who knows. I'm not sure if that Ace's hands on here that I got slaughtered for. It might be on this video, it might not be, I don't remember. Did you see that hand, Grant, that I posted with the Aces where they made like a really small 4-bet and then the ball come down, fucking Queen XX Jack on the turn, and basically my ass fell out.
No, I didn't see it, no.
I'll link you to it after this. It was I posted it on Reddit, it got like 60 replies. Some were like, some were alright, some weren't so polite. And I posted it in the Facebook group as well, and one guy just went off on one on me. Just completely went off on one. Basically told me I was rubbish and I was inexperienced, losing player, etc. Like, yeah, whatever, you know. I just made a group to be people to be nice, not to get fucking... I don't create a group to get slated in my own group by some fucker who turns out he plays 2NL or whatever. I'm like, fuck off, I don't need it. I just don't need it. Because basically I created the group to not have that kind of flaming. And the first hand I post, I'm getting fucking flamed by somebody. It was quite ironic, actually. So anyways, we'll look back at this 6-4 hand, because it's quite interesting when the river comes out shit. I think we made a loose call which I think we don't have to make. But this is what I've been experimenting with lately, just trying to see flops in late position. Because you're a big fan of your min raise, James, aren't you?
No, it's Sky. It's Sky. It stars. It's 3x under the gun in middle position, then 2.5.
I think when people are min raise under the gun, I really want to be calling with as wide range as possible. That's what I've been. doing it quite a lot, and then just trying to outplay people post flop because we're going to be in position. I always do it with hands that have some level of playability. I won't just turn up with like a random king 7 off or something like that here. But it's something I'm trying to bring into my game because I think you can just outplay people loads of ways post flop.
Does your database not show but that one gappers are usually losing hands?
It shows for me that from the blinds the shit, but in position from cut off and button that they're absolutely fine. I'm making money with them.
One gappers?
Yeah, I'm not making suited one gappers. Yeah, I'm not making money from the blinds with them. I think I'm basically just a small losing with the blinds, but probably still saving more money than if I just folded, I think. So even though I'm losing money from the blinds, I don't think I'm losing it as quickly as I would if I just folded them all. But yeah, in position, cut off and button, it's fine. I'm showing profit with them. So I know a lot of people like to just 3-bet in spots like this, but I prefer, I don't 3-bet that much. I'm much more of a caller in general. Because I think on these types of boards, you can either hit you a lot, or they can be just dead scary for people. Imagine if he does have aces there. We just get to rep tons of stuff on the turn. If we just call here, if it comes a 7, if it comes a 3, if it comes a 6, it comes a 4, obviously it improves our hand, and it's scary for him. If it comes a heart, we can get to rep flushes. There's just lots of ways he's just going to give up a lot of the time. He's going to go try and get to showdown with some of his range. And I just think these boards come out enough where we can just terrorise early position ranges. You know, if it comes like a deuce on the turn, basically any card deuce through 8 is really good for us on the turn. So it either gives us an opportunity to bluff him when he slows down, or it increases our equity. And I just like these sort of hands because they connect often enough, and we get to rep all kinds of things on different boards anyway. Because you know you have to, because you can't just keep calling with 6 high and tricking it to showdown all the time. So yeah, we do it the turn. What size would you make it here? What do you think his range looks like right now? That's see bet the flop and check the turn.
Yeah, there's all of his value range, and I suppose he could have some flush draws that he's c-bet on the flop. What's your read on him?
Remember, he's definitely irregular, and I think he's pretty loose aggressive. Right, but in terms of pre-flop stats, post-flop, genuinely don't know, but from memory, he's in the more loose aggressive sort of thing. I would guess he'd be anything range of 22 to 27 VPIP with an 18 to 22 PFR. I don't know exactly, but in that kind of ballpark. Certainly regular on the more loose aggro side pre. Post flop, not so sure. I don't know that much about him. I don't even think I've got 1,000 hands on him yet, so he's not super well known to me. But in general, what do you think the population's ticking this line with? We've obviously got a hand we can bet for value now, but how often do you think we're getting called? Do you think he's got much of a check call range here?
No. He's got to be worried about the flush, really, hasn't he? If he's got a flush, you'd think he would bet it.
Yeah, if he
had an overpair, he'd be wanting to charge a flush draw, wouldn't he?
But do you not find that people on these boards, if they've got 10x or jacks or something like that, they kind of start trying to pot control from this point? Because I see it's not a lot, but I see and I genuinely don't remember what happens this hand. But it's a kind of spot where I think some regulars can definitely just start check calling down here, even with all their overpairs, just because they don't want to bet fold. This is something we've talked about a fucking ton in the group. To me, this is the classic bet fold with an overpair. But I see so many regulars who they just ask this for now. They could be sat there with anything jacks through aces and just going to full on check call mode because they just haven't got the courage to bet fold. I think bet fold's a line with an overpair here, but I wouldn't be surprised if, and I genuinely don't remember, I wouldn't be surprised if he turns up with 10x or better, especially if he does check call, which we find out he does on the turn. I think way more people than you expect are just check calling with overpairs here on the turn, and I hope I just give up here on this river.
Shit river.
It's a dreadful river. I expect to just lose most of the time. I don't remember the hand, but I do expect to just lose. Check back and lose. Wow, and he had the flush draw. It's exactly, and this is where assumptions can be wrong.
Some showdown value he stopped.
Because I thought this guy was loose aggressive, and that turn card's a great card for him to continue with the aggression, and he didn't do it. So this is what I mean about players that can look dead at loose aggro pre. I just don't think in these snap games there's very much aggression at all post flop, which I think plays right into good players' hands, because they get to pot control whenever they want to, and because people are checking like quite strong ranges, you get a shit ton of value when you want to too. I don't find it too hard getting value in these games, and I don't find it too hard pot controlling either when I'm in position. I think at the minute, the way this was playing right now in the last few weeks, I think it's playing right into my hands. Now it'll shift at some point because it always does, but right now I think people are just so weak tight out of position because people still really shit at bet folding. I just think it's at the minute it just seems to be playing right into my hand. I didn't remember that hand there, by the way. I expected to lose it, but I didn't remember have a clue what he had. Like, what have I just done here with this ace queen? It looks like
you 3-bet pre, I think.
It's like I've done something spewy.
Oh, there we go. Nearly shoved.
So we've 3-bet. Yeah, this will have been a conscious thing. It'll have been 3-bet. Hope he folds, but side call if he shoves. I guess. What do you think of that, James? Against that stack size?
Oh yeah, fine against that stack size.
You'd be happy just 3-bet and then just side calling it off if he shoved.
Well, fun enough though, I've been watching a video that has been telling you to just flat ace queen in the big blind, so I'm thinking of looking into that. But usually I would just 3-bet that, and you've got to call it half a stack, haven't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. And when he shoves, you're just kind of going to sit there and cross your fingers. He's got like 10s or jacks or 9s, aren't you?
Yeah.
But I did again. It's just someone I didn't know anything about him. It's like whatever. I'm willing to stack off here for 50 blinds. I hope I don't have to, but I'm willing to. If that's what happens, that's what happens. What do you think, Sam? This isn't.
Yeah.
I guess exactly when you played on Sky, I don't know what I haven't played enough for you to know what your 3-bet strategy is from the blinds, but you would against this stack size, you'd 3-bet get it in, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't go too far wrong with ace queen here, can you?
No, I think if he had 100 blind stack, it makes it more awkward because I wouldn't necessarily want to 3-bet fold, but at the same time I wouldn't like calling. But it's interesting you said about just calling here, James. Who's been saying that? Because I quite like that idea, to be honest with you.
Carrotters, because well, he didn't say this, but you do keep the other aces in, don't you? I've been watching the ones about blinds, you know, and I'm surprised at some of the ones that they're calling, like King Jack suited, and the blind against a button steel, where I just usually 3-bet that.
Yeah, I think if it's a mid,
but it makes more sense to 3-bet your trash, doesn't it?
I don't know, because I don't
just call these decent ones.
I've about to say I don't 3-bet much trash, but I did that Queen 7 earlier, didn't I? But typically, I don't 3-bet too much rubbish because I don't expect to get enough folds. But in this spot, I just didn't know. I mean, I guess I just took a view based on his stack size. But I think if he had a full stack, I don't think I would have 3-bet here. Against an unknown. I guess I would just have called. Maybe I would have 3-bet the suited stuff, which gives us a bit more chance to be aggressive post-flop because of backdoors and things we can flop. I honestly don't know. I think this is basic. This is just done on his stack size, I guess, more than anything else. But yeah, I guess we have to call it off once we 3-bet, but it didn't work out too well. Never mind.
I mean, I don't think you could be 3-betting rubbish here because you know it's no odds.
I'm very unlikely to 3-bet bluff against somebody with like less than 100 big blinds.
Yeah.
I 3-bet bluff against the right regulars, but I would not. I wouldn't dream of doing it against somebody who I thought wasn't a regular because I just think they call way too much.
So you reckon it's a good player pool? What is it, about 200 players?
No, it's never that big. It peaks usually at the absolute peak time, like Friday night peak time, maybe 130, 140. Usually it's like through the week it can be anything from like 60 up to 90 or 100. The times I play, because I usually, it's like I was saying to Sam while you had your connection issues, part of the reason I'm not enjoying Sky is because it doesn't really properly fit my schedule because of my family life and stuff. I can't usually start playing till like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and that's when Sky's usually starting to go to bed. So 888, it suits me. This suits me more because of my schedule. If I had the chance just to play on Sky the same hours that Sam plays and Grant plays and you play, I probably would play on Sky all the time. But because I'm usually starting my sessions not before 10:30, like I said to Sam, you can log on to Sky, there'll be like 1,000 people seated, and by 11:30 it starts at 600, and the games just die. And then I find myself like two-tabling at 2 in the morning because there's like one random fish there, and it's just not ideal for me. It really isn't.
So how many hands an hour do you think you're getting the table there?
Sky. Well, I
Yeah, but
usually
30 or 40.
it's rare I play
Oh,
six
isn't
max.
it?
I usually try and play short-handed, so it's hard to say. I mean, I would guess when I'm at my peak, if I've got 4 tables up and running, I'd imagine you get at least 220 hands an hour because you've
Yeah.
got that ridiculous fucking short time bank.
And because it's multi-way so often, it's time consuming.
Yeah,
It's
that is
just
the
playing
case.
2 or 3 tables, you
Yeah,
can
it's
be
a bit more like
dead
PLO,
for
isn't
2
it?
hours.
Yeah, it's like if you're playing PLO, obviously you get way less hands per hour because more hands get to the river. I guess you're right in Sky, that's what I've never really thought of. I don't know, does the Sky lobby, does it even list hands per hour as part of the lobby? I don't even
No,
know if it lists it. No
no, it doesn't.
idea. No, so anyway, thanks for that, guys. I enjoyed the video. It wasn't quite as interesting as I expected it to be, which is a shame, but never
No, it's
mind.
good to see
There
you.
were some hands,
It was
wasn't
good
there?
stuff. Yeah, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm
Yeah.
not going to make any more Sky videos to review because it's just too fucked up. You've got to have 4 tables to make it like to have any chance of catching good content, and then it's just too fast when you're watching it back. So I'm
Yeah.
probably going to record a few sessions this week, and then hopefully find one to review that's a bit better than this. And I think people prefer fast forward videos because more people are playing fast forward. So yeah, thanks very much for that, guys. I do appreciate it. And
Right,
I'll
great.
catch up
Good
with you
stuff.
soon. Bye bye for now.
Okay, speak to you later. Bye. Bye.